Support for WUWM podcasts comes from University School of Milwaukee, fulfilling a values-based mission of developing learners, fostering leaders, and preparing citizens for pre-kindergarten through 12th grade. More information at usm.org/mission.
Lake Effect brings you conversations about what's happening in Milwaukee and the people, places, and organizations that shape the community. This is Lake Effect Spotlight from WUWM, Milwaukee's NPR.
Over the last month, local food pantries say they've seen an increase in need not seen since the height of the COVID-19 pandemic. One group of women have stepped in to try to meet the needs of the community. They created a mutual aid organization called MKE Grocery Buddy to connect people experiencing food insecurity with people who can help. WUWM's Jimmy Gutierrez brings us the story and the current food needs around Milwaukee.
A week before this past Thanksgiving, 4 women jumped on a video call. This was the first time all of them would be in the same place at the same time.
It's been a crazy 3 weeks. And I know we've all had a lot of our own stuff going on and working and doing grocery buddies. Yeah, I'm super proud of us.
They all saw a social media post by their mutual friend, Meg Sargent. Katie Goodwin, one of those friends, has been a friend with Meg since high school.
And so she posted about how, she was building a list of people who might be experiencing food insecurity around the SNAP lapse, and then another list of people, of potential buddies who would consider sponsoring these families and directly connecting them.
Katie says this is how MKE Grocery Buddy started. The goal of the group is simple: feed people. It started during the government shutdown when lots of folks lost their SNAP or food share benefits. How it works is pretty straightforward. You can sign up either as a grocery buddy, someone in need of help, or to support a grocery buddy. Katie and the group take it from there.
This is the form they fill out. We ask just what do you need for support? Our 2 ways of connecting our neighbors are either through direct financial gift, if you will, or purchasing and dropping off groceries. Some actually have gone to the grocery store together, which we love to hear. I'm like, oh yes, I hope you're just talking about life and walking through the aisles. But yeah, so for our request form, it's any allergies, specific challenges, and just some contact information. And then we match them with a donor of the similar preferences.
They put this website together within weeks. It's super clear on how to access their services. It even includes a resource and FAQ page. Katie showed off all of the work the women have been doing on the back end building out this system too.
We have email templates when you get matched. We've really mobilized and formalized a lot of this, because it's that's one, you have to both asking and giving aid. You want it to be a reputable, system you're working within. So
it's crazy, looking at the back end of this and seeing, just the dates without the names, but you all have built basically a government entity doing the work within a month. I'm looking at the end of October for a lot of these dates and these matches or these.
Almost within 2 weeks.
As of mid-November before Thanksgiving, the group had already matched 72 pairs of people, 144 people total. Single parents working multiple jobs, people with disabilities. These are just some of the people they see. Katie's also learned a lot about how restrictive SNAP benefits are too.
I've learned a lot about SNAP itself. It's only fruits, vegetables, meats. You can't even get a rotisserie chicken, or cleaning products or paper towels.
She says she's lived an incredibly privileged life, attending some of the best private schools money can buy. But things changed for her and her family her senior year in college. That's when her dad lost his job.
He had a medical emergency. And he, his whole life, he'd been a healthcare CEO. He had worked at all of these, expensive hospitals, big paychecks. And suddenly after this medical event, the only job he could sustain with his physical disability was at a grocery store.
But what happened next was that the family received a ton of help. People stepped up, making sure they had what they needed. And that experience left a mark on Katie.
All of us, every single one of us, are so much closer to being in a situation where we need and support than any of us are ever to being a billionaire.
The passion, creativity, and ingenuity that came from all parts of the city, the county, and the state to figure out how to come together and feed your actual neighbors was incredible.
This is Matt Steenstra from Feeding America. He remembers hearing about Grocery Buddy and the panic around people losing their benefits and ability to feed themselves and their families.
Milwaukee County stepped up big time, making unprecedented investments with $150,000 investment into food security. And Milwaukee City and Milwaukee County came together to host the Milwaukee Food Drive, where tens of thousands of dollars and tens of thousands of food has been raised to help support families leading up to Thanksgiving. But I think what's important for everyone to realize is that families are still struggling a lot.
Matt says this isn't a coincidence. After the pandemic, the federal government started to unwind a lot of nutritional programs that were in place. In Wisconsin, that meant a reduction of $1.3 billion in food and food benefits. And that's all coming at the same time that the price of groceries continue to rise.
We hosted a focus group of some people that visit food pantries after people receive benefits, but before Thanksgiving. And it was made incredibly clear that the economic situation for so many families in Milwaukee and across Wisconsin remains dire. And people still don't know where the next meal is coming from. People's economic situation has not improved. And we continue to see numbers at food pantries at incredibly high levels that rival or even exceed what we saw during the peak of the pandemic.
At the time, about 12% of the state experienced food insecurity. The number in Milwaukee County is around 15%, much higher in the city of Milwaukee, where nearly 1 in 4 kids experience food insecurity.
We know that the best way to solve hunger is to make sure that everyone has a job that pays them enough money that they don't qualify for any benefit programs, and they can go grocery shopping for the foods that fits their family's needs and what the kids want to actually eat and their dietary restrictions. The best way to solve hunger is not through the food pantry system.
With that said, there are food pantries in every neighborhood of the city. That includes pantries like Nourish MKE, which opened its new flagship location on 13th and Cherry this past May. Val McMillan is the executive director there.
We've often served people historically who do use SNAP, but we also serve a lot of people who don't qualify for SNAP.
She says she's noticed a big increase in food needs during the shutdown and the loss of SNAP benefits. She also expects more of the same next year.
You know, what we experienced in November is the beginning of, I think, some more larger issues that we're going to start seeing in 2026. We're going to see our community even harder hit in the area of food access.
Val continues to point to a couple issues. Work requirements that are set to take place for SNAP and Medicaid, the tariffs and continued inflation, including in the price of groceries, and there are other parts of people's budget that are about to get pinched too, in a big way.
Whether their health insurance premiums are skyrocketing, which we are hearing about every single day from people when they jumped onto the marketplace to look and see what's coming up for 2026. And people we've talked to, thousands and thousands of dollars more, tens of thousands of dollars more for health insurance. That is going to be a massive hit for people. And when we find that a lot of people, the first thing they start pinching pennies on is groceries. And so they might not be going out to the metro market. They might be instead looking to a food pantry.
Val says your local food pantry is meant to build community. It's not supposed to be a solve-all for food insecurity, but it should be warm and accessible. And if you find yourself in need, there's no need to feel shame.
Almost every member of my staff, including myself, we have utilized food pantries in our own past. We have our own issues with food insecurity, which is probably what drew us into this work. And so when you're coming into these places, you're coming into places that are run by people who understand what you're going through, because we've all gone through it too.
Back in Bayview, Katie Goodwin and the other women finish up their video call. They're putting the finishing touches on their website, which is now humming, how they can automate pairing up food buddies, and thinking about sustainability, because outside of this, they all have full-time jobs.
There are all these systems that are out there, and they're great. There's food banks, there's church meal drives, there's all these systems that are set up, there's SNAP. But within these systems and these pillars that are holding up a huge support for food insecurity, there's a ton of gaps, and that's where I think our work continues, even beyond SNAP coming back.
She sees Grocery Buddies as long-term mutual aid here in Milwaukee. Katie, like the other women in the group, also has a grocery buddy of her own. She says she didn't know what to expect when they first got paired up.
So when I emailed them and said, hey, I'm happy to give you $40 a week. They responded and they were like, you know what? Like, I only need 40 for the month. And then like, we can figure it out. If SNAP comes back, like, it was just very, you're told this narrative of, oh, take. This person simply was brave enough to ask for help and then was like, no, I will figure this out. The next day I received an email that included a receipt for everything that the individual had bought.
Katie says that they didn't need to do that. How you spend your money on the things you need is your business. She's just in the position to be able to help. And she says, who knows what the future will hold? Maybe one day she'll be the one needing help.
That was WUWM's Jimmy Gutierrez. He spoke with MKE Grocery Buddy's Katie Goodwin, Matt Steenstra from Feeding America, and Valerie McMillan, Executive Director at Nourish MKE Food Pantry.
You can find more interviews like this one by visiting WUWM.com/Lake Effect. And while you're there, subscribe to the Lake Effect Spotlight podcast.